He sounds very different to Mavis when she trundles over the steel bridge. The stone bridge, the steel bridge. Finally, when Thomas arrives at Brendam Docks, he applies his brakes. Thomas's brakes sound like this, whereas Mavis's brakes sound like this. Thomas and Mavis. On the island of Sodor, there are always so many different jobs to do, and also many different sounds to hear. It was summertime on the island of Sodor. Gordon pulled the passenger express. It was very busy, but Gordon loved the hustle and bustle. Henry hauled freight cars in the forest. He loved the peace and quiet, but he didn't see many people. Sometimes working in the forest could be very lonely. Later, Henry pulled into Knapford Station. He was delighted to see all the passengers. But Gordon was not delighted to see Henry. "Keep your smelly freight away from my passengers," grumbled Gordon. "But it's only logs," chuffed Henry. "Passengers and freight do not mix," huffed Gordon, and he wheeshed away. Henry watched the express leave the station. "I'd like to pull passengers," sighed Henry, "just for a change." Henry stopped at the water tank on the edge of the forest. Children were standing by one of the trees. "What are those children doing?" Henry asked Thomas. "That's the old Sodor wishing tree," said Thomas. "They must be making a wish." "A wishing tree?" gasped Henry. "How wonderful!" "Do you think it could make my wish come true?" asked Henry. "It might," said Thomas, and he puffed away. Henry rolled up to the wishing tree. He took a deep breath and made a wish, as hard as he could. I wish I could pull the express instead of Gordon," he said. That evening, Sir Topham Hatt came to see Henry. "Tomorrow, you will pull the express," he said. "Thank you, sir," said Henry happily. His wish had come true. The next morning, Henry chuffed cheerfully into Knapford Station. When his passengers were on board, Henry blew his whistle and pulled out of the station. But Henry puffed too quickly. "Go gently," called his driver. "You can bump freight, but you can't bump passengers." "Sorry," puffed Henry. Henry puffed proudly through the countryside. "Pulling passengers is a grand job," he said. Gordon was in the repair yard. He was being fitted with a new boiler. But Gordon felt lonely. He was missing his passengers. The passengers were missing Gordon, too. They were having the bounciest, bumpiest ride they had ever had.